80% of new users of heroin report that they first used prescription drugs before trying heroin.
Federal agents busting a prescription drug ring in a sting that spans several states. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight at 5 o'clock, everyone. I'm Bob Clausen.
And I'm Ashley Ketz. Arkansas, part of a multi-state bust that netted nearly 300 arrests.
In that bust, 7 people arrested in central Arkansas as agents cracked down on people they say were illegally selling prescription drugs.
The number of arrests throughout the state, though, equal roughly half the total number in this entire bust. Because Safety Matters, KARK-4's Drew Petrimo joining us now live from the West Little Rock doctor's office that was raided just this morning, Drew.
Drew, we're like ground zero.
Yeah, Bob, Ashley, agents say the KJ Medical Center here off Financial Center Parkway was a pill mill pumping out powerful prescription drugs and taking in large amounts of cash. Were you selling pills?
No.
Dr. Jerry Rifus taken away in handcuffs after his office was raided by federal agents around 9 o'clock Wednesday morning.
Sometimes life is rather difficult.
Agents with assault rifles guarded the KJ Medical Center while a search warrant was executed. It was a similar scene at the Bowman Curve Pharmacy just a few miles away. In all, 9 people were arrested across central Arkansas Wednesday on drug trafficking charges.
Death from the prescription painkillers has reached epidemic proportions.
To fight the problem, federal agents launched Operation Pill Looted last July. Since then, 140 people have been arrested in Arkansas alone. Among them, Little Rock doctor Richard Johns, Perryville pharmacist Christopher Watson, and former Razorback and NFL running back Cedric Cobbs.
We're targeting drug dealers who profit from misery.
In Arkansas, the problem is particularly bad. The state ranks 6th in the nation in per capita hydrocodone prescriptions.
That equates to a supply of approximately 42 hydrocodone pills for every man, woman, and child in the state of Arkansas each year.
At the KJ Medical Center, agents say employees wrote nearly 500,000 illegal prescriptions in the last 10 months, sending customers to Curve Pharmacy to have them filled.
There is no examination. There's no tests. It's get as many people in the door in a day as possible to collect as much money as possible from them.
Also seized during the raid 4 guns, a money counter, and cash.
That's what these doctors and pharmacists are. They are drug dealers.
Dr. Rifus, who worked here, was one of 4 doctors arrested across the state during Operation Pill Looted. 4 nurses and 5 pharmacists were also among the 140 people in all that were arrested in Arkansas during this operation. Live in West Little Rock, I'm Drew Petrimo.
All right, Drew, thanks very much. Some of the facts that came out of the press conference: 80% of new users, as mentioned, of heroin report they first used prescription drugs. The death rate when it comes to an overdose of narcotics is higher than automobile accidents and heroin and cocaine death rate combined.
Arkansas State Police are still investigating what led up to a deadly officer-involved shooting Tuesday night in Cabot. The suspect, we learned today, a parolee, killed in the shootout while sitting inside of a squad car. KARK-4's Hillary Hunt spoke with neighbors who say this is very out of the ordinary for their neighborhood.
We just heard some loud bangs.
Kay Phillips says her Cabot neighborhood is normally quiet, but that all changed Tuesday night.
We noticed that it was gunshots, and we all just kind of went scrambling. We didn't know what to do.
Right down Main Street off of Highway 89, multiple law enforcement agencies still investigating the scene of an officer-involved shooting.
Was trying to figure out what was going on, and that's when we learned that somebody had been shot.
This was the scene Tuesday night around 9 o'clock. According to state police, local agencies, along with the Department of Community Corrections, were searching a home. Now, according to ADCC, 35-year-old Jonathan McIntosh was a parolee who was found with drugs on him. He was arrested and placed into the back of a cop car. When they came back, officers said McIntosh had moved his cuffs in front of his body and had a pistol. That's when he fired, and officers returned fire.
There were, I don't know, 20 or 30 more ambulances, cop cars, fire trucks. Everything was kind of pretty shut down.
McIntosh was taken to a hospital where he later died. Now state police are trying to determine what exactly happened and how McIntosh had a gun. In Cabot, I'm Hillary Hunt.
Now, according to the ADCC, the officers involved are still working, but they are on assigned duty.
New tonight, a man accused of brutally raping and killing a child found guilty. A Benton County jury found Zach Holly guilty of capital murder and rape of a 6-year-old girl, Jersey Bridgman, back in 2012. He was a neighbor of the child and even helped in the search for her when she first went missing or was reported missing. The next phase of the trial is sentencing, where a jury has to decide whether he will spend the rest of his life in prison or face the death penalty.
And take a look at this. Folks in Bryant getting a shock after a car crashes right into the storefront of Gann Insurance Agency. This happened on North Prickett Road, just next to the Larry's Pizza. You see them trying to pick up all the glass and also get that SUV out of there. It was still inside when we showed up. Emergency crews still working to get it all cleaned up so that business can reopen. No injuries have been reported.
A mother is facing charges for smuggling tobacco into a jail for her son. Mother's love, you could say. Her son is the log truck driver, by the way, in Clinton, accused of the deaths of 2 construction workers last June. Prosecutors say Jerry Hickman was high on meth when he lost control of his big rig loaded with logs that rolled into a crew of construction workers. His mother, Betty Hickman, now facing charges of furnishing prohibited articles into a correctional facility.
And heading into the holiday weekend, flooding is forcing the closure of campsites in northwest Arkansas. Horseshoe Bend Park, that usually is packed with RVs this time of year. Now roads are flooded, about 6 inches of water on some of them. More than a dozen campers were out there today, but thanks to Mother Nature and all the rain we saw earlier today, they have to be gone by tomorrow. The waters have risen 2 feet after last weekend's flooding. The governor plans to announce specifics on a special session tomorrow morning, but we have some of the details today. In the 90th General Assembly, lawmakers will consider Amendment 82, a super project in Calhoun County at Highland Industrial Park. Another amendment to merge the Department of Rural Services and the Arkansas Economic Development Commission. Another move would be to consider to move the full Arkansas primary elections from May to March. We have much more on our website at arkansasmatters.com.
Snapping a picture of your teacher and posting online with something nice to say is one thing, but a West Memphis junior high student got suspended for it. Here's why. The East Junior High School teacher was in West Memphis and apparently had fainted. The student posted a photo of her lying on the floor with the caption, "What's wrong with our teacher?" On Facebook, posts seen by students and parents, they certainly thought it was rather a cruel thing to do.
Well, I'm shocked. I'm literally speechless.
That was a cruel thing to do.
If one of her family members passed out, she wouldn't want to have them on the news, on Facebook.
There's more to it. The school suspended the student for 3 days. On Facebook with that pic, said the teacher was popping pills, which school officials say not true. The school said the teacher is expected to be okay.
Well, as state officials are planning to take action for licensing grain dealers, the state secretary of agriculture saying he's pleased with the outcomes in an effort to protect farmers from major losses. Lawmakers approved a new law to require grain dealers to register with the state. This all after a major broker, Turner Grain, went belly up last summer. That bust cost many farmers millions. Secretary of Ag Wes Ward saying he believes this law strikes the right balance.
We don't want to come in with regulations that are overly prohibitive or overly restrictive and that cause more problems than what we intend. So really it's making sure farmers have some security when they're selling their crops.
Now, some portions of the law, like record-keeping requirements, are still being worked out, but the law requires dealers apply for licensing within the next few days.
The Little Rock Zoo losing a much-loved rhino. Sue, one of the oldest rhinos at the zoo, died after undergoing a procedure to take care of her teeth. Zoo officials noticed that she hadn't been eaten for a week or so and had abscessed teeth. The procedure to take care of her teeth went well, but apparently she had trouble recovering from the anesthesia. Preliminary tests show that she had blood in her abdomen, but we'll know more, as will zoo officials, when the final results are in. Sue, by the way, was 45 years old.
Sunny days ahead for many on the way, but we'll show you why that means it's time to do double duty to protect your skin. Plus,
I was a Marine from 2009 to early 2014. Deployed twice to Afghanistan.
Walmart announcing plans to hire 250,000 veterans in the next 5 years. More on why they decided to make this push coming up.
And heavy rain to start this Wednesday across Arkansas. Here in the capital city, over 1.5 inches of the wet stuff. Now, that rain with a warm front that moved north across Arkansas today, so our temperatures soaring up to the low 80s. We've got a cold front coming back tonight. But you know what? That cold front's going to come back as a warm front over the holiday weekend. I'll let you know what it means for our forecast in just a couple minutes.
From the station that brings you local news that matters, this is KARK 4 News at 5 in high definition.